Welcome back. Another episode of Post-Fades Cheesesteaks. You know what? I actually don't even know what number episode we're on, so I'll give you a surprise whenever I put it up. But
Okay, I'm pretty sure it's 46. I've actually been more on top of it now because
46 or 47. We're getting close to 50. That's exciting. So
that is I'm excited for that one.
yeah, that'll
The
be
draft the draft will be right around the 51. That could be
that'll
cool.
be draft is like 5 weeks away already. It's crazy.
I would say we could do something cool for the 50th, but more than likely we'll just record a random episode. You'll think it's the wrong number, and then we'll miss our 50th altogether.
And the Eagles will probably draft a quarterback. So
That's true. So,
par for course.
Yeah.
But so this episode, we'll talk about how our brackets are doing. March Madness as of right now. What does the Sweet 16 look like? And then a little bit of NFL free agency news. Eagles signed a few players since we last were on. So, but starting with that, my champion, Illinois, already lost. So that was fantastic.
That's love to see that.
But I'm doing okay. Like as far as like my pools go, I'm still doing okay. Like my one pool, I'm still in. I think I was in 12th out of like 60 brackets, or tied for 12 with like 5 other people. And then the other one I saw was like 7th. So I mean, I still got a bunch of good picks. It's just like, I mean, I have Gonzaga, Michigan, Baylor still in my Final Four, and then I had USC and Oregon in my Sweet 16, so I was right on the money with that.
Good stuff. How many teams do you have left in your Sweet 16? I have 6, so it's definitely not something to be proud of. I did not do great in the Sweet 16, but I have 6 of the 16 in there. How many are you looking at right now?
Let me see. So I have Gonzaga, I have USC, Oregon, Michigan,
obviously,
Florida State, Alabama,
okay,
Houston.
So like 7.
Arkansas. Oh wait, no.
Yeah,
no, never mind. I had Texas Tech. I lied.
Because you're full.
Baylor, Villanova. So I had 8, I think.
Villanova. Oh, you're Villanova. Okay, so you're not.
Yeah.
That's an awful. I mean, it's better, much better than mine, but I'll give you that one. Yeah, weird 16. If you just look at the list of teams that are like Oral Roberts, Loyola, like even the teams that are like the higher seeds, I guess you could say, like, Arkansas's in there as a 3, but they were probably the weirdest 3 out there. Villanova's a name, but again, I don't think anyone saw Villanova going. I had them losing to Winthrop in the first round because, I just foolish. Creighton again. Creighton was the other 5. Like I had both of them, Creighton and Villanova, losing in the first round, and they were probably the biggest names that are left in the Sweet 16. Once you get past the first seeds, it's just weird. Even like you consider Houston and Alabama your 2 seeds. Like I was already gone with. And Ohio State, which obviously went down big, goes back to my main thing, man. And I was hyping up the Big Ten so much. I think it had, how good that conference was played into majority of my picks when I was going through my bracket. And they've got one of their 8 teams that were in the tournament made it to the Sweet 16.
Yeah,
that was just ridiculous. Shocked that they went down. Obviously, the big upsets with Purdue, which your boy called Mean Green, and Ohio State in the first round, and then Iowa later. But your Michigan, they're making me wait a little bit longer to get my cold frosty 6-pack from you.
Yeah, it's just weird seeing like number 8 Loyola Chicago versus number 12 Oregon State. Like, what? How did that? Like, see, we have 2, like UCLA's on 11, Syracuse is an 11.
Yeah. They didn't even have UCLA winning their playing game with Michigan State, the first game of the whole tournament, and I was already wrong.
Yeah, it was. You know what the worst part was? I don't remember the other 2 off the top of my head, but I think it was on Saturday. There were 3 overtime games, or no, Friday. There were 3 overtime games. All 3 of my teams lost those overtime games because it was Virginia Tech was the first game.
Great game. I remember watching. That was a heartbreaker because they had that incredible shot.
Did Purdue go into overtime? I don't remember.
That one I don't remember. You catch me off guard on that one. All I know is they lost the Mean Green, and I didn't care how regulation overtime. I picked my biggest upset of my bracket, and it hit them in Ohio. Ohio did it for me too.
Yeah, I was just like, I was so annoyed because that Virginia Tech game was actually really good, and then the fact that Florida missed they missed the foul shot, and then Virginia Tech had like 1.4 seconds to flip it down the court and drain a three to go to OT was like, I was like, all right,
I know.
March Madness is here, let's go.
You had all the momentum, and then it just you wanted. I feel like everyone watching that game instantly was rooting for Virginia Tech in that moment after they kick
Yeah,
it to overtime like that. It's tough break though. Florida State looks legit. I like that. Going into the Sweet 16, what are the matchups you're favoring the most or most interested in seeing? Because I think Michigan and Florida State is near the top of my list. Obviously, I had Michigan losing to LSU, and I will say of that day, Michigan and LSU was by far the closest game. Every other game was a complete blowout.
oh yeah.
So I'll take that as like a half a win. But Michigan, Florida State, I think is probably the best combined matchup out of anyone in the Sweet 16. Those two teams, I think, are the best playing each other right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to look real quick. I think Alabama is like, I mean, they
Good
almost put
team.
up 100 on Maryland.
Good team.
Yeah, they're playing really well. Gonzaga's proven me to look like an idiot because they're playing pretty strong. Like they've started slow in both games and then just exploded.
This is what I can't believe when we were talking about this. It was like, do you watch this team? Like, I think there was only one game they didn't win by double digits. Like, they are so clearly better than everyone else. And it's just been obvious all year.
Like I said, I had so I got USC Oregon correct in my Sweet 16. And then I had USC winning to play Gonzaga in the Elite Eight and then had Gonzaga winning. But if Gonzaga is going to lose at any point, I would love for them to lose to USC because I mean, USC beat Kansas by almost 40.
Oh, that was ugly. I had USC over Kansas in my bracket. I was still stunned watching that game, how ugly that was.
Yeah.
But I mean, listen, Gonzaga and USC would be a nice matchup. It'd be a top 3 draft prospect matchup, in my opinion. Jalen Suggs and Mobley going against each other.
Oh yeah, the Mobley brothers are really fun to watch.
They are. They're very, very fun to watch. That's why, I mean, I remember even we were talking about this, and I was like, obviously had Iowa beating Oregon, and like, I know Garza is great, but those two are legit, and they're big. Evan Mobley's in my running for number 1 overall pick. I know everyone wants to give it to Cunningham already, even though he just got eliminated.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a good matchup. I'm looking forward to it. Going back to the Gonzaga and USC, how about the fact that Big Ten stinks, completely dropped the ball after being the best conference all year. And now you're looking at the Pac-12, have 4 of their 5 teams in the Sweet 16. Unreal. Yeah. You got you, and it's not even the teams you would expect. Obviously, everyone isn't surprised by Gonzaga, but Oregon, they didn't even play their first round. They, had a COVID pass.
Yeah, they got a
Oregon State. I don't even think had a winning record. They just managed to win their tournament.
Yeah.
Trying to think, I'm blanking on Colorado. I think was the only Pac-12 team to actually lose and not be in, and they're I think the highest ranked seed out of any of them.
Yeah, what's funny was I was saying this to a friend yesterday. I was like, I truthfully didn't watch a ton of college basketball. Like
sure, when you make
like I would watch a couple games here and there. Yeah. But I didn't really know how good some of these teams were. And then, when I filled out my bracket, I was like, I mean, like we said last week, it was pretty chalked. Like you looked at it and it was very top heavy with like a lot of number 1s and 2s, like being deep in it. And that's just how it felt it was going to go. And it's been like the complete opposite. Like, I'm not surprised because this is how it always goes with March Madness. Everything's up in the air, but the fact that we still have, 2 11 seeds, a 12th seed, a 15 seed, like,
and don't forget about Oral Roberts. Most ridiculous name I've ever heard. Oral Roberts sounds like a sex position or one of those like dirty like jokes that someone tells you to Google and it turns out to be horrific.
I saw
it doesn't sound like a college.
I saw as soon as they won against Florida, someone tweeted in all capitals, "I love Oral." It was getting blasted on, like everyone was retweeting it and liking it. It was hilarious.
But... I mean, all right, so hold on. Just before the season starts, preseason, before the whole college basketball season starts, if I'm telling you that there's going to be a Sweet 16 matchup between Oregon State and Loyola Chicago, and then Oral Roberts and Arkansas, like if I even told you before the tournament, I don't think you'd believe me. It's just it's weird to see these teams. UCLA was in the first four playing games, and they came all the way back. It's been a good tournament though. A lot of good games. I've loved it.
Yeah.
I missed it. We missed the year last year, but I was out. Watched it all day Saturday. Had every TV in front of me. I've caught the late games. I love that it's just nonstop beginning to end. I'll watch the games before I go to work, catch the games when I come back, and it is beautiful. It's definitely been 2 years in the making, and I missed it so much. So obviously, you didn't do too hot, but we'll let you have a shot of redemption. Going in Elite Eight. What are we thinking? Gonzaga and Creighton. Give me your predictions. Obviously, you know where I'm going. I'm not going to waste your time.
Well, I bet on Ohio to win, and they failed me because I didn't believe in Creighton.
Wait, what did you bet Ohio to win? What the region?
No, just their game against Creighton.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I had a 4-game parlay, and I won. I had Oregon winning, so that was the first one good. And then I was like, all right, the Mean Greens, like they're going to do something against Creighton. Creighton didn't look great against UCSB.
Sure,
so
yeah.
I was like, I could have pulled out and saved. I would have had double. I only bet like $20, but I could have pulled out at 60 when Oregon ended. And I was like, it'll be fine. And then they got blown out. It's like, fuck. But
greedy.
No, yeah, Gonzaga scored. I mean, they scored 98 in the first game and then 87. And Creighton's not gonna be able to keep up. So I would say Gonzaga.
I agree with you there. Now, this is, I told you the Michigan-Florida State is probably my most anticipated matchup. This is probably second. You're talking about two teams probably coming off the most impressive performances of the entire tournament. The way that USC just waxed Kansas and then Oregon just, oh my, I forget the final score of that game, but Oregon must have come close if they didn't hit 100 points against Iowa in a college basketball game, which is just absurd. I mean, Luka Garza had 38 points and they lost.
Mm-hmm.
And considering this team didn't play in the first week with VCU having a forfeit, like I was shocked that Oregon just came out and just dominated. What were you thinking there?
I mean, I had Michigan in my championship game, so I'll roll with Michigan.
Okay, well, I meant USC or Oregon, but I appreciate.
Oh, you were talking about Michigan, Florida State for a second, and I was.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to keep up.
Again,
we're moving at a top-notch speed here. We got things to get through.
Well, I'm not looking at your face. I'm looking at my computer screen that has the bracket up. But
oh, it's a shame. Your view would be much better for everyone.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
so go ahead, whatever order you like.
It's the same thing. I'm going to stick with USC. I had them in my Elite Eight. Not going to back out now. I think it'll be a fun game to watch. I mean, like I said, Oregon scored 95. So that's a hell of a score in the college basketball game. Yeah.
I agree with you. Oregon, I think, surprised everyone with the Iowa game, but I would be shocked if USC let them come out and just run and gun against them.
USC's churning, so I like their odds.
Yeah, they look good, man. That Evan Mobley kid. I'm telling you, I like Jalen. I know Kate Cunningham's awesome, but I love Jalen Suggs a lot, and Evan Mobley's looked great in the tournament. If they, they're gonna eventually would have to play each other in the Elite Eight if they both keep advancing. But man, they could definitely, draft position could come up now. And see what happens. They keep on going. Someone makes a late run, brings their team, carries them, puts up a couple big moments in some championship games. See what happens. But I'm gonna take USC as well. So.
Fair enough.
You already obviously went Michigan. Well,
I'm going Michigan over Florida State.
I'm still planning on getting a 6-pack out of you, so I'm going to Florida State. Let's go, baby.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Florida State's played well.
Good team. They're a good team.
Yeah, scrappy. This one's interesting. Alabama and UCLA. Alabama is a very strange team to watch. Like, I mean, they scored 96 against Maryland, but I feel like they're like, it's just all fast breaks for them. Like they were flying down the court, like each side trying to score within like seconds of getting possession.
Yeah. So. I mean, good style. You know what? Maryland, I liked Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
Coming into it, I didn't like their matchup. Who did they play in the first round? UConn. Yeah. I liked them, but I kind of liked UConn a little bit more. But Maryland plays defense. So it's not the defense to be worried about.
Tried to.
Alabama just went and just scored 98 points against a very tough defense, and that was impressive. So I'm a ride with the Nick Saban University Crimson Tide.
Crimson Tide. I know you were riding the West Virginia wave, if I remember correctly.
And that didn't work out for me.
I had Rutgers versus Houston in my round of 32, and then I had Houston advancing. And then I had Syracuse versus West Virginia, but I did not expect Syracuse to win, so that was kind of shocking. But I don't. This one's actually, I would not be surprised if Syracuse won, but I think Houston. I think they'll pull it out in another close game. It's because they struggled with Rutgers a little bit. So
yeah, Rutgers. I mean, well, I didn't think Rutgers was a bad team. We're going back to the Big Ten though, and they all just decided to forget how to play basketball going to the tournament.
Yeah,
I like Syracuse. I think Houston's better though. Question to you though is, if Buddy Boeheim goes on a little run here, say Final Four run, is he the best coach's son in modern college basketball? I mean, basically his competition is Doug McDermott at this point.
Yeah.
But Doug McDermott, he had some good seasons, set some records, broke, all this nonsense. But I don't remember ever going to the Final Four. I barely even remember him going to the Elite Eight. If Buddy Boeheim could put the little traction to the ground, get a little run going, Dad's a Hall of Fame coach. The team's not awful. They're going to run their 2-3 zone. It's amazing that it's so complicated for other teams to figure out. But if Boeheim goes on a little run here, I think Buddy takes the title of the best coach's son in the last, modern era of college basketball.
Yeah, I could see it.
With that said, I'm going Houston. Screw Boeheim.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's a tempting upset, but I think Houston will get it done. And then to finish out that bottom half, so the other Midwest is Loyola Chicago and Oregon State. I'm just gonna ride with Sister Jean, right? Sister Jean. And ride with Sister Jean, Loyola Chicago, because they were in the Final Four like a little while ago, weren't they?
Yeah, the
last March Madness.
Yeah, it was last time. Yeah.
So this is nothing new for them.
It's amazing that this team is doing this again. But yeah, I mean, they got Sister Jean going. Oregon State, they've had a good run, but they're a 12 seed Oregon State team, and I believe they were under 500. They're not that great. That's a great Sweet 16 matchup for Loyola to keep it going.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Loyola. I was also an altar server younger. That's how me and God are boys. So I get away with my shenanigans for that. So I feel like he'd be pretty upset if I went against Sister Jean. So I'm not trying to burn any bridges.
Damn.
So we're going Sister Jean all the way.
Look at you.
That's a halo floating on me. Would you just think that was just background light?
Yeah. Oh, those weren't devil horns? Okay.
Yeah.
I think so okay. How realistically is Oral Roberts' chances against Arkansas?
It's tough to say because, I would have definitely said Ohio State was a better team than Arkansas.
Right.
I don't think Arkansas is a bad team. I think they're pretty good.
But they're not like exciting. I don't know. I mean, they did score 85 against Colgate, which is a toothpaste brand, but
that's what you're using for your argument here.
And then I thought Texas Tech was going to upset Arkansas, but
I mean, that was a close game. That was a good game because Arkansas only beat them by 2, and Texas Tech's not a bad team.
Actually, now I'm looking at my bracket again. I had Colgate beating Arkansas in the first round anyway, so.
How did you forget that? That was your sponsor.
You know what? I'm going to roll in the tables. Let's give Oral Roberts into the Elite 8.
See, no, I always think with the 15 seeds, the only one I can ever think back to is I remember, so low-key the best live event for sports ever to go to is a March Madness game. Why? Because you get 2 with 1. I remember I went to one in the Wells Fargo Arena when they were doing the sites.
Yeah.
And it was possibly the greatest 2-game ticket you could ever get. So the first one was Florida Gulf Coast, Lob City, the last 15 seed to go to a Sweet 16, beating San Diego State. So this was what got them into the Sweet 16.
Okay.
So I was history in front of my eyes, When it's in the textbooks for my children, I'm going to tell them I was there.
Right.
The second game, because you get a doubleheader, they're quick. They do back-to-backs right in one arena, was the, previously mentioned coach's son, Dougie McBuckets, and Creighton versus the biggest name in college basketball, Duke basketball, and Coach K. It was a cute little David the Goliath story, Doug McDermott, great college basketball player against the best college basketball team or university ever. I don't even remember who really was on that Duke team. I think one of the Plumleys were. All I remember is Dougie McBuckets because I was big on Creighton that day. But that was the last 15 team to go to the Sweet 16. Great experience, by the way, seeing them beat San Diego State, and that stadium was hyped for them. But it's that layoff. You play back-to-back games, you get to the Sweet 16, then you have this point where, people like me and Dakota are going to have podcasts and talk about your team and get hyped up and excited.
Yeah.
And then you come back crashing earth a little bit. And Florida Gulf Coast lost the next game. I think Oral Roberts is going to lose the next game too. I think Arkansas, they're going to let the hype die a little bit, realize who they're playing with, not fall for any of the gimmick stuff, not make any mistakes that led to the other wins for Oral Roberts. And I think they pull it out.
We'll see. I just kind of based it off of I didn't believe in Arkansas in the beginning, so and I've been picking I think the favorites in all the other ones, so that'll be my upset.
Did you believe in Oral Roberts in the beginning?
No, I had Ohio State. I had Ohio State versus Texas Tech in my Sweet 16, so shows what I mean.
Sounds like you're the wrong person to ask, but
so.
Moving on.
Our last game, Baylor versus Villanova. Let's see. So that's on the 27th, and today is the 23rd. So was that Friday or Saturday? Am I stupid?
I didn't say it. I like Baylor. I always said, obviously I've been on the Gonzaga hype for a little bit, and I thought all year it's been Gonzaga and Baylor and everyone else. But with that said, obviously I killed Villanova and had them losing to Winthrop. They've played with some, good basketball. I've been very impressed. Jeremiah Robinson-Earl, I thought that Villanova wouldn't be able to keep going without their best player. I think Jeremiah Robinson-Earl is probably their best player. I think Giuseppe was very important. He was the spirit and everything. But Villanova's looked good in the first two rounds. I'm gonna take them. I think Jay Wright gets the boys excited and knocks down one of the powerhouses. There's got to be an upset somewhere in this round. And I'm going with Villanova, even though I had them lose in the first round. But I'm coming back. Take me back, baby. I was wrong the first time.
As much as I would love to see Jay Wright lead Villanova to another Elite Eight appearance, there's just been too much chaos. I think this round will kind of settle it back down, and Baylor will win this one. I think it'll be a close game. I think this one and then the Michigan Florida State will be probably the closest games. So, but I'll go Baylor.
Hey, you know what? Either way, we got another weekend of great college basketball, and I'm excited, baby. All day, all night, can't stop.
This is true.
So that's I think everything that I had on March Madness. Any final thoughts from you?
No, I mean just watching it, was it so Friday and Saturday, I mean, going back and forth between like 4 games at a time was nuts. Beautiful, amazing. I loved it.
I never watched True TV, but
I had to Google what channel it was on because I couldn't find it.
I was gonna say, when it's college basketball time, I can tell you exactly what channel True TV is. Never watched it any other time, but off the top of my dome. There was one last question I wanted to ask you, because obviously one of the teams got eliminated without even playing, and that's VCU.
Yeah.
Will there be another COVID forfeit?
I hope not. I feel like for the most part, everything else has been well handled. I mean, except for, non-COVID related, the whole women's gym was a bit of a fiasco.
True,
but glad they got that somewhat sorted out. But COVID wise, I think they'll be fine, because you got to figure it's also less. I think they're all staying there now, and there's less teams, so I don't foresee any more issues. But yeah, it was unfortunate because, I mean, I couldn't only imagine how the VCU players and coaches felt not being able to, you
I don't.
played
I
all
mean,
year for this, and then
yeah. More importantly, how does that one person, or I'm not sure the whole story, but whoever tested positive, how do they feel?
I think it was a couple people.
Was it okay? But yeah,
Yeah.
I also, I'll be optimistic with you. I think VCU is actually the example. That everyone's going to look at them and be like, I don't want to be that team. So like, I'm not even going to think about doing anything. I'm not going to leave because I feel like there was going to have to be at least one. There was going to be at least one in the tournament because if no one gets caught, then no one, maybe the interest and the temptation to go out and do something when you're in the Sweet 16 or Elite Eight is there.
Yeah.
Celebrate a little bit. But I think that VCU doing it in the first round and getting forfeited and ultimately being eliminated without even getting a chance to play, I think that scares every team to keep it straight. So hoping, and I think it'll be okay. I think VCU took one for the team and hopefully got everyone afraid and worried and locked in.
Yeah. Beyond that, I just was I was blown away by how strange UNC's performance was because they had like 4 starting players who were like 6'9" and above, and they were getting out rebounded by a lot. And I was just watching this. I was like, why did they look so sloppy, so slow? Like it did not look like a UNC, March Madness team. They just looked bad.
Yeah. I mean, that's 6. I mean, look, Kentucky and Duke didn't even make the tournament.
Yeah.
So, Blue Bloods are better. Kansas there too. But no, going back to what he said, I picked Wisconsin, and mainly because I kept on reading scouting reports, and almost every single person I read had the same consensus. North Carolina is the best offensive rebounding team in the country. And I just kept on thinking, like, this is all everyone talks about, and this is the main thing for their team. And I get it. That's a good, the best offensive rebounding team in the country or whatever. But offensive rebounding is going to win you tournament games. Like, it's just not a stat. That's like a ridiculous stat. Like, it's like baseball. Oh, they lead the league in, getting hit by pitch, or, the NBA, they lead the league in continuation fouls or, holding penalties or whatever in the NFL. It just seemed like a stat that I would not be boasting that hard about. But I remember thinking that, and it's just like big goons that can just get rebounds. But then again, they're probably missing a lot. So makes that easier too.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for this weekend coming up. It'll be a bunch of fun games. So
should be a good time. We'll see. I think it's good segue into the last bits of the NFL free agency. Obviously, we hit it hard last week.
Yeah.
I think the biggest move to come since we did the last one was the wide receiver deals. Juju obviously signed the 1-year deal with the Steelers, which I think the most surprising thing with, completely biased between me and you is the Eagles were in the, consideration. And apparently we're throwing money and years around. And
I thought I heard a rumor of like it was a couple million more than the Steelers, and like 3 years was the deal. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have been like super upset, but there's bigger needs than bringing in a number 2 receiver. So
yeah, I also want to get our cap situation under control. But listen, at least they're interested in winning. I think that's the way I took that, is they are interested in winning this year. Because let's face it, I think me and you have been both vocal about the fact that our expectations going into this year, even though it's very early in the offseason, is very low. And the fact that you have a first-round pick coming next year, or a second-round pick at the worst, with the Wentz trade, I think it made an easy excuse to just, tank on this year. But obviously, good signing. Howie also has to keep his job, so I think that's more of what it came down to. But they did make some moves. Obviously, they signed the backup safety from Buccaneers. And then I think the biggest move they made so far, and the move I love the most, was the Anthony Harris 1-year deal.
Yeah. They also picked up homeboy Joe Flacco.
Super Bowl winning champion Joe Flacco. We love Super Bowl champions, backup quarterbacks. That's what we do.
He's he grew up an Eagles fan, so I'm sure he's happy to kind of finish out his career as in his favorite home city or his favorite team. But
I completely forgot about that. I didn't even realize that he posted something on I think his Instagram or whatever with him. And I thought that was so cool. I completely forgot about him being from the hometown, but he went to Delaware. He's a Super Bowl champion. You'll never be able to take that away from him. He's a Super Bowl MVP, I believe, as well.
Did he win MVP?
You know what?
Was that the blackout Super Bowl?
It was the blackout
The
Super Bowl.
brother versus brother Super Bowl. Coaches.
Yeah. Oh, you know what?
The Harbaugh Bowl.
Yep, there you go. He was the Super Bowl MVP.
Oh, was he? Wow.
That's what the Eagles love. We have Super Bowl MVPs as our backup quarterback, just so that the people doing podcasts and sports talk radio have something to constantly talk about all the time. But yeah, I mean, I like the move. You needed a backup quarterback. I know you love Nate Sudfeld, but I think all of us realize that when you go out there and intentionally lose, and everyone knows you intentionally lose with this guy,
yeah,
you're never recovering from that. It's like, you know what that was? You know what that equates to? Nathan Peterman's 5 interceptions in the half or in a game or whatever it was. Like, it doesn't matter what he's going to do, but he's always going to get remembered for that. Like, what was that, 3 years ago? And still that's what we talk about. He's on a different team. Nate Sudfeld will always be the guy that his coach put him in there to intentionally lose a game.
I've seen Nathan Peterman make more interceptions than I have completions.
I've seen Nate Sudfeld intentionally lose more games than I've seen him win.
Fair enough. But I do, to your point earlier, I do really like the Anthony Harris pick.
Love it.
I know when we talked about our top 10 safeties back in the summertime, he was definitely, I don't remember if he might not have been in my top 10. I can't remember off the top of my head, but
I believe I had him in my top 10.
He's for sure, when healthy, I would say top 12 safety. So it's definitely great to have. I think him and McLeod is going to be a nice tandem, because McLeod is a little bit more of that. He's not a Malcolm Jenkins type, but he's more of the run stopping safety, like can pull back and cover, whereas Harris is the playmaker. So yeah. I think it'll work well. And they both went to the same college. I forget which one it was.
Really?
Yeah. Harris
Virginia?
Was it might have been Virginia, yeah.
Well, that's where Harris went.
Yeah, so then McLeod went to the University of Virginia too. But
hey, look at you educating the people. Is this your free masterclass? About time we got.
Of course, yeah. So Harris was I was listening to his press conference this morning, but Harris was a freshman when McLeod was a senior. So
I like that. So I mean, 2 things I immediately thought of with the Harris signing was, well, one, now that Jalen Mills is gone, he's an immediate upgrade over Jalen Mills.
Yeah.
I don't care if he had a bad year last year. I don't care what he's going to do this year. He's an immediate upgrade over Jalen Mills. 2, it's a 1-year deal. Obviously, he played on the tag last year with the Vikings, coming off a season where he led the league in interceptions, which I find incredibly impressive. He even had 3 interceptions the year before, so it goes back to, or the year before his league leading year. So it goes back to your point that he is a playmaker. Yeah. Played on the franchise tag, didn't have a great year interception-wise, but the Vikings also didn't have a great year in general. No. I think the fact that they had those rookie corners out there, Gladney, and I don't remember the other guy's name, after they let Xavier Rhodes walk, really hurt them. They were playing a bunch of young guys at corner, and, that didn't, when the corners are constantly getting beat, it's hard for the safety to go get an interception. But one thing that jumped out to me and that made me excited, beyond the fact that maybe this is just a 1-year rental where, at worst, it's a 1-year thing where he's just trying to try out for his next contract. Why not him try it out on our team? Why not let him have a great year, crashing on a big deal, whether with the Eagles or not? Why not just reap the benefits of having a great contract year? He had 104 tackles last year. That was, his career high was 60 the year before. Like, that's a lot. I know he had no interceptions, but you're talking about a safety that in 2019 led the league in interceptions with 6, and then the next year followed it up with a career high 100+ tackles. Luda Baker had 100+ tackles, and he got a massive extension. So the fact that this guy's still on a 1-year prove-it deal, let's go. I love it. Versatile. I'm not worried about his off production from the year before. I think he's gonna be good.
Yeah, no, I was surprised that there weren't more. I thought for sure he was going to get a big deal with any team, like Vikings were going to bring him back or something. But I
couldn't believe we got him on a 1-year deal.
I was like, 1 year, like $5 million. I was like, that's a good job, Howie. Good job.
Because that's don't get me wrong. I think he's going to be playing on a contract year. He's going to be trying out just like he did this year, and it didn't really work out for him. He's going to be trying out for the next contract.
Yeah.
But it just blew me away that this guy signed a 1-year deal with the Eagles. Like, you figure he would just go to a contender right away. Why not go play with the Chiefs or the Bills or something? Go deep in the playoffs, maybe make a Super Bowl run, and then try to catch him. But hey, I like it.
I think the McLeod thing helped because he's friends with McLeod, and then also Gannon, our new defensive coordinator, was his position coach in Minnesota a couple years ago when he had that great interception year. So I think that definitely played a factor in it too. But I liked it.
I love it. You know, a guy that understands the defense coordinator already. You know, that also shows it. It's almost, I always thought to the fault, like Doug almost rose the ranks too quick. You know, he went from backup quarterback, obviously got in with Reed, and like kind of made the jump to head coaching so quick. It's like he didn't really know anyone. Like, he hasn't been on staff. He doesn't know people. So when he goes to tell Lori, I'm bringing back all the same assistants I had the year before and promoting them, like, who's he going to go out and get? Like, he doesn't really know anyone that well. To the same point with players. New defense coordinator. He's coming into a new system. He went out, made some calls to guys that he knows, and he got a pretty big, accomplished guy to come and buy into a system. He's like, I want to go play for you again. That makes me feel good. You know, it makes me feel like he's got, you know, a player's approval on this defense coordinator. Otherwise, no, he wouldn't be back.
Yeah. Some other non-Eagles signings. I was really surprised that Galladay signed with the Giants. And then the Giants also took Adoree Jackson too. They gave him a lot of money.
They did. I thought that was an overpay. I mean, the Galladay thing, when you mentioned, I think you mentioned last time we were doing this, that it was between the Giants and the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounded just like he just wanted the most money. And, you know, he got a good contract. Good for him. You know, he was a top 10 wide receiver in my rankings when we did him. I think he's a number 1 wide receiver. I just thought it was surprising that he went from one dumpster fire to another dumpster fire. I know you got money, but, you know, don't you want to win a little bit? But when you told me last week that it was between the Bengals and Giants, I figured that this guy just wanted money. So, you know, good for, you know, the Giants went and got him. Good move. I think it's a good move for Daniel Jones. He's got to make a step forward this year, though.
I'll give you a masterclass fun fact. You ready for this one?
Please go ahead. I'm eager.
So in 1994,
I'm sorry. Hold on. The masterclass is going that far. What? Look at you. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
1994, the year you were born.
Great things happened in 94.
I'm a 93 baby, so I beg to differ. But so 94, Robert Kraft purchased the New England Patriots for it was like 172 million. And that was the highest price for a professional team like at that time. This past week, so I think it was combining current players they've re-signed and then all the players that they went out and signed during the past week. They've guaranteed to, I think, 16 to 19 players, 162.5 million. So they almost spent as much in a week of free agency as they did for the team back 20 plus years ago. It's kind of wild to see how money values changed, but
especially in a COVID year where the salary cap goes down.
Well, that's the one thing that I've been seeing is we're getting a lot of 1-year contracts, and it's because players, I think, are hoping to cash. It's a combination of players wanting to cash in next year when there's more money, and then also like teams trying to save money. So,
well, I mean, it makes sense on both ends, but obviously going back, I'm sure you heard about the TV deals that NFL struck up, you know, with Amazon for Thursday night. ESPN's getting a Super Bowl or 2 Super Bowls, I believe. I hope they figure out their Monday night booths, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest fan of the Greasy, Riddick, and who's on the sideline now? The Booger. Yeah. Don't give me a Super Bowl with those 3. Like, I like ESPN. I think it's a good move. I think ESPN's obviously a leader. I thought the same thing. ESPN got hockey back, which I think is great. But they are by far the worst commentary crew. Like Fox, CBS, NBC, all of them are better.
Yeah, you know, I actually like like Troy Aikman, Joe Buck. I think they work well.
Of course. Yeah.
And I love Al Michaels. Like,
Love Al Michaels.
put him
I
with
don't
anybody.
I don't even mind Collinsworth. Obviously, like
I don't mind him.
he's a buffoon. Whenever the monthly rewatch I have of the Super 52, Super Bowl 52 highlights, we got to, keep it fresh in my mind.
Of course.
And I listen to him argue over, the fact that Ertz and Clemens aren't catch. Like, I watch that frequently, and I still don't hate him. Like, something about his voice. I think his opinion and what he says, I never really agree with. His voice is comforting.
It's because when you hear his voice, you're watching football.
That's true. And there's something about arguing with Chris Collinsworth that, it just makes football feel right. Like, I can't agree with him. I'm yelling at my TV because Collinsworth is, an idiot or going against with what I'm saying. And it makes me feel at home. And I feel warm on the inside.
Yeah. I miss the Mike Tirico ESPN Monday Night Football games. Like, he was. Yeah.
Gruden is
Rico and Gruden were a great duo.
Great duo.
I love
even though the CBS duo of what's his face, Nance and Romo, I still think is better than Monday Night Crew as well. I like Romo. I didn't think I would like Romo, but I do enjoy him.
I like his excitement and his enthusiasm.
See, I went into Romo thinking I'm going to hate him just because it's Romo. But I kind of like the education thing, because there is some stuff that he points out. I don't care how much you know about football. Like, there is some stuff a former NFL quarterback tells you that you didn't see before. I don't know. It brings another element to it.
He's definitely said things that I didn't realize or didn't pick up before, but it's just some of the more obvious things, because I feel like he tries to depict every single, like, what happens in every single play.
He does. Okay, that
I'd rather like him, like,
too much.
Yeah, it's a little overwhelming.
I feel like, okay, I agree with you on that one, because I feel like when he started, it was like amazing. Like, he was predicting plays. Everyone thought it was like,
he was predicting the plays, like,
magic or whatever. He was looking at run the ball, and he just knew right away. And like, that was cute and all. And then, like, there would be teams in, like, 12. I back 12 set, and like, he's like, oh, here comes a halfback dive on 3rd and 1. Yeah. Really, Tono? What gave it away? Oh, the fact that the fullback was the only one in the backfield?
No, yeah, but, for being as anti-Cowboy as I could possibly be, I like Romo. I think he does a good job.
No, yeah. Going back to the point, this is ESPN is like by far the worst commentators. Like, I don't even think it's close. Like, I would probably say that the Romo Nance team is my third, and I don't even think it's close to the drop off to fourth.
Fox has quite a few good, like, here, like Daryl Johnston. I've always been a fan of him. He's like, it's like kind of watching with like a uncle or like an older friend. Like, he's just a casual guy, played the game, knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing that sucks about the Fox games is I can't watch a Fox game between the Cowboys and Eagles. Like, they just have all Cowboys. And I know Romo's just as bad, but it's like, I don't want to hear Daryl Johnson or
Troy Aikman's he's not biased at all, though. Like, I've rarely.
It doesn't matter. I just look at him and I can see the star. When it's Cowboys versus Eagle, I hear his voice and I just think of the star, and it's like the rally call for the enemy.
Do you ever watch NFL Network and Michael Irvin, like, always, like, he's gotten better, but he always is on the Cowboys side, and always.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. It's like, I listen to Pat McAfee a lot, like, because I can't say he's the best like guy, but he gets incredible interviews. I find it entertaining. But he loves the Colts. Like, he's just a punter with the Colts. So. And I agree, but I kind of like that. I kind of like that they have their own team they root for. Obviously, I'll never get behind anyone that roots for the Cowboys, but I kind of like when they have their team, and like, it gives a little more juice to it. My favorite thing ever is when Stephen A is just the biggest Cowboy hater ever. It's like the opposite. Yeah, it's great. Like, I like that analysts and commentators like that have their favorite team, and like, I can feel their emotion. Like, you get into it with them, like, you feel like they're invested in the game. I'm always a sucker for it. That's why I think I kind of like Romo. And I think I'm going to like Breeze too. Now that Breeze hung it up, I think he's going to be a very good announcer.
Well, after seeing what happened with Jason Witten, I'm going to pump the brakes on Drew Brees. I'm not going to jump the gun and say he's going to be a good commentator. So
okay, all right. Let's first off, NFL tight end or Hall of Fame quarterback. Do you know how many
I agree.
interviews Drew Brees has done?
But I like Jason Witten. Like I always, he's one of the few Cowboys I respected. So
how many times is anyone trying to interview the tight end?
Tony Gonzalez?
I don't even care who it is. Tony Gonzalez never got interviewed nearly as much as Drew Brees.
Fair.
Yeah.
One last thing on your point of Pat McAfee. He had, I don't know if you saw, he had Carson Wentz on this week.
I did. Yeah, I did.
I will say Carson has talked to the media and interviewed more in this past week than he has in the past 6 months. And my biggest takeaway of it is that he looks like he's the happy Carson.
Yeah.
So, it hurts to see him, going to suit up in a number 2 Colts jersey, but I'm glad we're moving on. I mean, not glad, but I'm more relieved that we're moving on. Both teams getting fresh starts. So I don't know if you got the chance to listen to that or not.
I did listen to the interview. And the guy's always going to talk after he gets what he wants. Now these trades are going to say that's when you're going to hear from him. I mean, we're closing the book. The book's already closed, but what the biggest takeaway from what I'm hearing from these stories and everything is these three, Howie, Doug, and Carson just didn't know each other. Like they weren't really they didn't know each other on a personal level. Like Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid is the perfect dynamic. Like I feel like they really know each other well. They care about each other. Their personal lives matter. I just feel like Doug, Howie, and Carson were probably guys that walked through the complex and passed in the hallway and said, "Hey, what's up?" And that was it. It goes back to Carson really didn't have this desire to compete when you drafted Hurts. Then Doug never even tells him when he's going to bench him. And then then Howie's out there lying in the interview saying he's not going to trade him. And then he fires Doug. And then you think, oh, Wentz is going to want to stay. We hired his boy from the Colts, and he had no interest. It was
he was set. Yeah, he was already set.
It just seems more and more that these guys just had no idea who each other were, how to work with each other, and it just amazes me. I really don't know how this whole thing fell apart so badly. Maybe it's the fact that Nick Foles won the Super Bowl and it was someone else in Carson's spot, but I still find it hard to believe they couldn't make up and get over this. But now the interviews you're seeing, Wentz saying how much he hated the situation. You're hearing the reports of how they didn't talk Doug and Wentz for since week 8 or whatever it was. It seems like on the personal level there was nothing between the three of them, and it just hurt them overall.
There's always going to be where there's details we're never going to learn about this whole situation, but
yeah,
at the end of the day, I am a little disappointed in Carson because it does seem like he kind of
he got what he wanted. He wanted to leave after he got benched after that Green Bay game. Everyone knows.
But that's
he
the
wanted
thing.
To leave.
He was saying after he got benched in Green Bay, he thought maybe my time up in Philly. I was like, after one game, you think you're done in a come on, have a little more balls than that.
This comes back to what the draft picker hurts.
Which makes me think there was more to it. But he said in the Pat McAfee, he said he was all aboard. He said whatever's going to help, He said
because here's the thing. He made the draft. They made the draft picker hurt. Wentz could have never seen himself being the worst quarterback in the league.
True.
That next season. True. And I think when it comes down to it, you put the extra pressure on him, and he's not a guy that was going to perform well under the pressure. And it's just you not knowing that. And listen. Say what you want about the Packers, but they drafted Jordan Love, and the Packers had a hell of a season. Aaron Rodgers won the damn MVP. You know what? They drafted a guy in the first round to be his replacement. He said, "Fuck you, double birds up," and went and won the MVP and brought him to the NFC Championship game. Wentz is not that guy, but you know what? Give it to LaFleur, give it to the Packers for understanding their quarterback. The Eagles, I don't think that was ever there. I don't think they knew each other. I don't think they cared to know each other. I just feel like they were completely different people. They were so disconnected, and it just shocks me because I feel like they grew just apart the more they were together, which baffles me. So what are you gonna do though? We moved on. It's Hurts and Flacco, baby.
Hurts and Flacco. Well, at least we won't be hearing fans call for Flacco, so that'll be good.
If you could have told me when Carson Wentz signed that big extension, and this was probably, I want to say roughly around, because it's probably right around the college off season. So everyone knew who Jalen Hurts was. It was probably when he transferred to Oklahoma. So if you told me when Wentz signed that extension that, a year and a half later or 2 years later, that our quarterbacks would be Joe Flacco and Jalen Hurts, I honestly don't even know what I would think. One, did Carson get hurt or something horrible go wrong? Is Jalen Hurts the greatest quarterback ever? Did Lincoln Riley just bring out a third number one overall pick? And then like what the Joe Flacco just seems like an abnormal reference. Like I don't even know why he's involved in this whole thing, but he is. Here he is. We love him.
Yeah, he won't be wearing number 5 though, because that's Donovan's number, and it's a retired Eagle number. So
good for him. Good man. Get a new number on the guy. Yeah. Plus, you know what?
Is he going to wear a number 11? That'd be awkward.
You know what? I'm all for it. Joe Flacco seems to have the personality of, you know, fucking why not? I already got the Super Bowl ring. I'm Super Bowl MVP. I'm at that point in my career where I'm just backup quarterback, cashing checks.
I could see him stepping into a, the legendary number 7. We had Ron Jaworski, Michael Vick, Nate Sudfeld. So.
Well, Sudfeld's still on the team, you know.
No, he's a free agent.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
Now we have 2 quarterbacks. So hopefully they don't draft one, but
wait until it's Trey Lance, Joe Flacco, and Jalen Hurts. But you know what? That's all right. We'll save that for another day. We have episode 50 right around draft time. We'll have a whole shebang.
Yeah, I mean, March Madness will be wrapping up, and besides baseball starting up, it's draft season, baby. So
it's true.
But I think that's wraps up on this episode. You know, had our March Madness discussion. And then obviously got into free agency. So looking forward to the rest of the Sweet 16 this coming up weekend, and then seeing which teams advance to the Elite 8. I already lost Illinois, so can't really go any more downhill than that. But
and I had them in the finals, so I can't really say anything. But alrighty, till we do it again.
All right, talk to you.